The rolled hem is one of the most popular things to do on a serger. I use it in this order: 4-thread overlock, 3-thread overlock, and rolled hem. Those are my 3 main stitches I use with a serger. So the first thing you're going to do is remove the left needle, which I've already done, and then we're going to start by changing some settings. And it's one thing nice if you want to do a little test is go ahead and see and sew after you make each setting change what it looks like, because you'd be surprised how different things look. So for example, if we just go ahead and take our stitch as it's set up, just like a regular 3-thread, okay? So we got a 3-thread overlock here, nice, even. But then I'm going to take the stitch finger. Stitch finger needs to be removed. And all you have to do is just pull this button towards you. Now, without doing anything else, I'm going to just go ahead and serge again. Because that stitch finger is not there, the stitch becomes about half the size. Kind of starts to make the seam even smaller. So if you're ever stitching along and wonder why your seam is so narrow, maybe it's because you forgot to push that in at the end of the rolled hem use, which is probably the most common thing I see when people switch back from a rolled hem or go to a 4th thread and it kind of looks a little wimpy. Well, it's just because the stitch finger didn't get pushed. Okay, so we're going to leave that out. Now we're going to start to tighten up our lower looper tension. So you can go up to 7 or 8 depending on the fabric that you're stitching on, and let's compare the difference here. So now what we're getting is the lower looper is pulling the upper looper all the way around to the other side. There we go. There's the rolled hem. All right, so the red thread kind of tucks everything down below over here. Now the next thing to do, so for example, if you do want this to be decorative rolled hem, the only color you really need to focus on is what goes in the upper looper. All right, next we can take our stitch length here and turn it all the way down to 1. That would make it like a nice little satin stitch. So this will take a little longer to go. Sometimes I'll even hold on to this tail out the back so it doesn't kind of get creeped back in, and I'll sometimes use my scissors to cut that little edge. Now look at it. See how much more it is? Now the red thread, that's the lower looper, has been tucked way back here. So I usually just kind of match it. It doesn't have to be exact because it is going to show, but it's going to kind of tuck away and hide. And then of course the needle thread does show on the top side. It's pretty small stitching, but do try to kind of blend that in as best you can if you don't have the exact color that you're working with. Now this decorative thread, this is where you can start to have fun with some of the decorative threads, the ones that are a little bit thicker. You just want to make sure that you don't make the stitch length so small that it piles up. You'll probably be maybe a little bit above 1 if you're using decorative thread. Also too, your decorative thread's going to go into the upper looper tension. Machine doesn't know you put it in there, so give it a little bit of a leeway. Turn it down to a lower tension, down to 2 or 3, just depending on how thick that thread is. If you're using really heavy, chunky, heavy thread, you're going to also probably not do it on a really lightweight fabric. You'll do it on something that's a little bit more, has a little bit more substance to it, that the decorative thread can kind of roll over and then fill in nicely along that edge. Just keep in mind some stitches are overkill for some fabrics. Just kind of use your lighter weight stitches for your lighter weight fabrics and your beefy or bulkier stitches for your heavier weight fabrics. The other thing that can be changed is actually your cutting width. Depending on where your knife is will depend on how much fabric is trying to roll in there. So if you're getting a lot of roll, it's kind of hard to roll, take that knife, bring it in towards the needle, so to a smaller number, and that will leave less for it to kind of have to peel over that edge. So between all those adjustments, you should be good to go no matter what thread you choose.